Under the warm glow of the hotel lobby chandeliers, every sound seemed to pause. The clinking glasses, the soft piano, even the whispers of luxury that filled the air. Then came the slap. Sharp, echoing. A white manager, red with arrogance, had just struck a black woman in front of stunned guests, calling her unfit to stand here. The crowd froze, not realizing who they were watching. Humiliate. The woman didn't react with rage. She simply straightened her suit, her eyes steady, calm, powerful. Within minutes, a convoy of black cars stopped outside the glass doors. Security swarmed in. The same woman quietly reached into her purse, pulled out a gold-plated badge, embossed with the hotel's corporate seal, and spoke only one sentence that silenced the entire room. "I'm the new owner." The silence that followed her words was heavier than the slap itself. The manager's face drained of color, her hand trembling as reality dawned. She had just assaulted the woman who signed her paycheck. The guests stared, whispering among themselves, unsure whether to flee or stay. Cameras blinked, phones recorded. But the woman, Dr. Alicia Morgan, stood unwavering. Every inch of her presence radiated authority wrapped in grace. She didn't need to shout. Her calmness was the loudest sound in the room. As the security team escorted the stunned manager away, Alicia's eyes drifted across the lobby she once cleaned years ago as a part-time janitor. The same marble floors she had polished now reflected her tailored heels and the gold CEO badge pinned discreetly inside her coat. No one in that room knew that she had started at the very bottom of this empire, scrubbing floors at midnight to fund her MBA while facing snide remarks about her place. They didn't know she had built an international chain of luxury hotels under a different holding name, one that had just acquired this very property. Now, returning as its silent, new owner, she had wanted to remain unnoticed, to evaluate her staff's integrity before introducing herself. What she witnessed instead was a scene of prejudice so raw it reminded her why she'd built her empire differently, where merit ruled, not color. She turned to the frozen employees, receptionists, bellboys, servers, all standing in uneasy silence, their eyes darting between guilt and confusion. Alicia's gaze wasn't filled with anger but disappointment, the kind that cuts deeper. She spoke softly to her assistant. "Gather everyone in the main hall. Tonight." Her tone was final, controlled, a storm in disguise. Outside, rain began to fall against the tall glass walls, each droplet echoing like judgment. Inside, rumors spread faster than the storm. Who was she really? What was going to happen tonight? And most of all, what did this mean for every person who had watched in silence while injustice unfolded before them? The storm outside thickened, lightning slicing through the sky as the staff gathered in the grand banquet hall, the same place where hours ago they had served wealthy guests with forced smiles. Now the tables were cleared, the chandeliers dimmed, and the air vibrated with unease. Alicia stood near the stage, her silhouette outlined against the tall glass windows streaked with rain. Her assistant whispered updates into her ear, names, roles, years of service, but Alicia's expression didn't change. She already knew what mattered, who had stood silent and who had acted when injustice appeared. The manager, Ms. Claire, stood apart, her confidence stripped away. Her hands twitched as she looked down, avoiding Alicia's eyes. Every whisper in the hall circled her name. She had become the symbol of everything ugly that this hotel had hidden behind its polished facade: racism, arrogance, and entitlement. Alicia slowly stepped forward, her heels echoing across the marble floor. The staff's chatter ceased. Her calm voice filled the silence. "I came here today unannounced because I wanted to see how this place treats the people who walk through its doors. Not the rich, not the powerful, but those who look like me." The words lingered, quiet but razor-sharp. Every employee shifted uncomfortably, their shame visible. She paused near the reception desk where the incident had happened. I stood here for 10 minutes before it happened, 10 whole minutes. Not one person stepped in, not one voice said, "This isn't right." You watched it happen. Her voice never rose, yet each sentence hit like thunder. The rain intensified, clapping against the glass as if nature itself echoed her fury. A young bellboy tried to speak, trembling. "Ma'am, we didn't know who you were." Alicia turned slightly, her eyes piercing, yet controlled. "You shouldn't have to know who someone is to treat them like a human being." The silence afterward was suffocating. Some employees looked away. Others blinked back tears. Claire bit her lip until it bled. Alicia walked toward the front desk, tracing her hand over the polished wood surface. The same counter she had once stood behind when guests complained about her accent or doubted her competence. She remembered every insult, every forced smile, every night she'd promised herself that someday things would change. And now they had. She looked at her assistant. "Bring me the list," she said quietly. He handed her a folder, a thick file containing staff evaluations, complaints, and behavioral reports. She flipped through them, then closed it gently. "Tonight," she said, her tone calm but absolute, "this hotel is closing early." A murmur rippled through the hall. "Tomorrow it reopens under new management, mine, and by morning every position will be reevaluated. Some of you will stay, others—" She let the sentence hang, unfinished but understood. Claire's knees buckled slightly. "You can't do this," she whispered, voice breaking. "I've been here for 15 years. Alicia met her gaze, unflinching. "Then you've had 15 years to learn respect. Seems you still haven't?" The room went dead silent. Outside, thunder roared as if punctuating her words. She turned back to the crowd. "I don't run hotels where people like me have to prove their worth. I run places where everyone has dignity, guests, staff, and cleaners alike. If you can't stand for that, you won't stand here at all." A few employees began to cry softly, realizing the storm they had ignored was now inside these walls. As she walked away, the manager collapsed into a chair, her once crisp uniform now wrinkled and damp from tears. The others followed Alicia's departing figure with reverence, fear, and something new, realization. For the first time, the walls of that hotel didn't echo wealth or privilege. They echoed truth. Night had deepened, and the hotel now stood, silent, its once glowing chandeliers dimmed to a soft amber hush. Only the sound of rain tapping against the windows filled the space. Most of the guests had already checked out early after the commotion. What remained was the heartbeat of consequence, the staff waiting to learn their fate. Alicia sat alone in the executive lounge, her reflection glimmering faintly on the rain-streaked glass. Her assistant entered quietly with the finalized reports, the outcome of her decision. Without looking up, she said, "Send them in." The doors opened. The core management team walked in, led by Claire. Their footsteps were hesitant, their eyes hollow. Claire's arrogance was gone, replaced by the trembling guilt of a person stripped of illusion. Alicia rose slowly, her presence commanding the room without a single word. "This hotel," she began, "has been called a symbol of excellence. But excellence means nothing if it hides rot beneath its polish. I've seen how people are treated when they don't fit your picture of perfection. That ends tonight," she handed a folder to her assistant. "Effective immediately. Every department head who allowed discrimination under their watch is terminated. Their replacements will be chosen from staff who've shown empathy, not entitlement." The words fell like a verdict. Gasps filled the air. Claire stumbled backward. "You're firing the entire management team?" Alicia turned her gaze toward her. "No. I'm rebuilding the culture you destroyed. Claire's lip quivered. I made one mistake? One mistake? Alicia's tone was calm, yet it froze the room. You didn't just slap me, Ms. Claire. You slapped every black woman who ever had to prove her worth twice over. You slapped every person who worked silently while being underestimated. That wasn't a mistake. That was who you are. Thunder cracked outside. Claire sank into a chair, speechless. Alicia walked toward the tall windows, the city lights flickering behind her like judgment. Tomorrow I'll reopen these doors, but it won't be the same hotel. It will be a place where no one fears being themselves. She turned back, her expression firm yet almost sorrowful. Those of you who believe in that, stay. Those who don't, leave tonight. For a long, breathless moment, no one moved. Then, one by one, some staff members placed their ID badges on the table and left quietly, their footsteps fading down the corridor. Others remained, their faces uncertain but hopeful, as if they were witnessing a new dawn rising through the storm. Outside, the rain began to ease. Inside, the air felt different, lighter, honest. By dawn, the rain had stopped. A pale gold light filtered through the hotel's massive glass facade, glinting off the marble floors that only hours ago reflected chaos and shame. The scent of freshly brewed coffee drifted from the cafe downstairs, a quiet symbol of something new beginning. Alicia walked through the lobby once more, her steps steady, her mind clear. The silence of early morning was peaceful, almost sacred. The night before had rewritten the hotel's legacy, not with noise, but with truth. Half the staff had resigned, unwilling to face what they had become. The rest stayed, driven by the realization that this place could finally stand for something real. At the front desk stood a young bellboy, the same one who'd hesitated to speak during the confrontation. He straightened his uniform nervously as Alicia approached. "Good morning, ma'am," he said softly. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for not stepping up yesterday." Alicia paused, looking at him with calm kindness. "Change doesn't start when we're perfect," she said. "It starts when we stop pretending we can't do better." She handed him a small envelope, his promotion letter. "You'll be leading the new hospitality program. Teach others what respect actually looks like." His eyes widened, his hands trembling as he took it. As she moved through the halls, Alicia noticed small but powerful signs of renewal. Staff greeting each other with sincerity, a new code of conduct pinned proudly on the wall, and a large, framed quote being hung near the entrance, "We rise not by titles, but by how we treat those beneath us." Outside, media vans had already begun to gather. The story of the slapped CEO had gone viral overnight. Cameras flashed as Alicia stepped through the main doors, but she didn't stop for attention. Instead, she turned back toward the building, taking in one long, deep breath. This wasn't revenge. It was restoration. Her assistant walked beside her. "They're calling it the most powerful stand against workplace racism this year," he said. Alicia smiled faintly. "Then maybe they'll remember that silence is also a choice." And yesterday, silence ended. She walked toward her car, the city awakening around her. Behind her, the new hotel sign glowed proudly under the morning sun. Morgan Grand Regency, named after her late father, who once told her, "If they close the door on you, buy the building." As she stepped inside her car, she glanced one last time at the lobby, no longer a place of prejudice, but proof of power reclaimed with dignity. The world would keep talking about the slap. But what mattered most was what followed it, the rise of a woman who turned humiliation into history.